My name is Cobi Bezuidenhout. I am from South Africa, Pretoria, and I'm running my own business since 2009. I am in the bookkeeping service. I started my business mainly for a personal reason. I wanted to be involved in my kids' life, after school hours, and being in a full-time job, I was not able to do that. Having an own business and in the service that I went into bookkeeping, I could structure my time in such a way that I would be able to do that. But I also think that I reached a ceiling with my employer at the time. I actually implemented a very nice bookkeeping and a financial system for them. And it went fairly well there. And I knew I made a huge difference in this company with my contribution, but I felt I can make a lot more. You have so much more opportunities to influence people, to influence your own life, to influence a community, the area where you provide a service or you supply a product. Somebody who starts a business, a new business, obviously on a personal level, comes from a place where you would suppose they earn a steady income from an employer. And there's a huge personal risk involved, I think, when you give up that steady income. If we go to the business side of risks, so you cannot control people and you cannot control situations. And because of that, there's always risk involved. So you need to be aware of who you are as a person and how you are going to cope and how you are going to take on these challenges that comes your way. You cannot control the flow of money, for instance, all the time. You can do the sales and you can have the contracts, but you will not be 100% sure when your customers are going to pay you. The characteristic that stands out to me very strongly is passion. It's not easy to start your own business. I think there comes a lot of obstacles your way. I think seldom, things work out the way that you anticipated. And I don't think if you have passion and a drive for what you are doing, you can just leave it, or you will be discouraged very easily. I think alongside with it all, that what comes with passion is determination. The drive to go on and go on and go on, regardless of whatever comes your way. Something else that I just think every entrepreneur have in them is there must be some sense of a risk taker. I think you need the ability to change and adapt very quickly and all the time. I don't think that if you have a personality where you need comfort and structure and want to be in control all the time, I think you will struggle. I think you need to be able to have a willingness to learn, and not being stuck to your own perceptions and what you think should be done in a certain area. I also think that there need to be a sense of being realistic. It's great to have a dream and to follow a dream, but the dream must be implemented. Also for me, a characteristic that is for me personally, is to value and understand the value of personal relationships. Whether it's with your clients, whether it's with your staff members, whether it's with your suppliers. I think personal relationship is vital. I think entrepreneurs have that ability, to connect very well with people and being able to network on a larger scale. Previous employer at the time outsourced quite a large volume of work to me, and then actually the customers came to me. There are an extremely many bookkeeping services out there, and I don't think that it's easy to get new clients or get clients from other people who does the same service as you, specifically in the bookkeeping industry. So I think word of mouth and just giving a very good service helped me. There's one particular area, or let's call it initiative, that I'm quite familiar with, and that is CEDA, and that stands for the Small Enterprise Development Agency. And they are specifically focused on assisting small businesses in areas of information, advice, referrals, tender information and advice, import and export training, business assessment, helping them with set up business plans, technical support, market access, and so on. And they are quite accessible. In every municipal district, there is a CEDA office.
The first is a sole proprietorship, where the person in his personal capacity runs a business, but it's not a separate entity. So he must pay the business and personal taxes, for instance, in his own name. Same with partnerships, where it's 2 to 20 people who join together in their personal capacity and they run a business. But the business is also not a separate entity. So everybody in their personal capacity is liable for, what needs to be paid, taxes and liabilities and the likes. Then we've got a private company, which is a separate entity, legal entity on its own. It gets taxed on its own, and you need a director or a shareholder in that. We also have non-profit companies. It's like a shelter for homeless people, churches, and the likes. And then something that the government is encouraging the people to form now is they call it cooperative enterprises, where a few individuals come together and they then run the business. The government encouraged that, especially in the informal sector, because it actually builds capacity, so more people can actually be involved in whatever the service is that they do. Well, it addresses unemployment, and more people can, benefit from the income that comes from that. And there's lots of funding available, especially from our government, to cooperative, initiatives. The government, obviously, they have lots of funds available. The private sector, we have the financial institutions like banks, and also international investors. Those are, I think, the main ones who play a role in investing money, and each of them have obviously their own criteria of what needs to be submitted and what the requirements are for funding. But I think something that is above, everybody wants from you is a proper business plan. What is the market opportunities that you are looking for? Will you have the capacity to actually execute if you get access to additional funding? How are you going to, with additional funding, make this thing work? Do you have a track record? That includes, financial history and record keeping of what have you done and how you can actually grow your business. I think especially in the private sector, private investors, they are looking for opportunities where they can relate to what business you are doing and obviously the return on investment for them.
Running your own business should not be about the money only. It should be about what more can you give as a business owner. I have a social responsibility part in my business also, where I share my experience and my knowledge and systems with businesses in the informal business sector. Now, the informal business sector in South Africa is made up mostly of people who, because of the high unemployment rate in South Africa, must go out there and try and generate an income just for survival. So, for instance, it's the guy who sits on the corner of the street and he just sells fruits and vegetables. So there's no registered entities. It's just a way of survival. And those guys not necessarily have any systems in place to track their financial movements. They don't have access to bookkeeping services. So for me, I think there's huge potential for those people to grow and even to create more jobs. But there's not enough opportunity for them to go there. There are millions of rands available and people want to invest, but because there's no systems in place and because there's no financial record keeping, they are high risk to invest in. But the training and the systems that I think is required of them, it's overwhelming. You cannot go and tell a guy like that, cash flow is important and you need to record your income and expenses. You need to take the guy by the hand and you need to show him that it is doable, but it's doable in a very practical way. The first component of the course is, where am I at this moment? You need to face reality in terms of where am I, and not where have I been yesterday or where do I want to be in 5 years' time. It's where am I right now, and even if it's an ugly picture, face that ugly picture, and then you can actually address the issues. And by addressing one issue, you can actually sort out a lot of other stuff. The second component that we touch on is, how do you view yourself as a person? Are you very dependent on what other people think about you? And, how do you validate yourself in terms of stuff? Because it plays a massive impact on those people's lives if poverty is such a huge thing in the community. So for them, the car that you drive or the house that you live in is huge driving factors.
Also teach the guys how to control their stock. Obviously, a lot of them doesn't have the equipment to do proper stock control. Obviously, you cannot do a stock count manually every day or even once a month if you have lots of products that you sell. But we saw that you can do spot checks on your stock. And you can identify maybe 1 or 2 lines if you suspect maybe that there is theft going on, or you are not quite sure how a line is doing. A lot of people in the informal sector employ people, but there's nothing in place to actually protect either the employer or the employee. we just give them examples of this is how a pay slip or a salary slip should look like, and you should actually issue the people that work for you with a salary slip. And there's legal requirements also in terms of tax and unemployment funds that needs to be paid over on behalf of the employee. That's a very important aspect that's not getting a lot of attention in the informal business sector, and I just think it's very important to cover that and to educate people. And another aspect that we cover is how to deal with our customers, where we ask the people who attend the course to look at their customers not only as a potential source of income, but as a potential teacher. What can they teach you about your business? What can you learn from them?